So we're here to have the discussion over AI in business and our 3 questions. So first, I kind of want to start and we just introduce our questions and um, introduce kind of the project itself and maybe discuss a little bit about it. So for me, I chose sustainability and specifically how um, AI would affect businesses in sustainability. And I think it's really interesting for me because before I came to school, this school, I never really thought about sustainability in business or in anything. And so it's interesting for me to really research this topic more and kind of get into the why of sustainability in business. And so what I found out was that it's mostly about data collection. That's how AI will really help improve um, sustainability in various businesses through all the articles and everything. Like it helps little bits here and there with maybe thinking about like suppliers and getting things on time in a more efficient way and making things more efficient. But really, sustainability is all about the people and how people have to change their companies. And AI will help that through data collection internally and externally. But in the end, it's all about the people making the change in business. Um, so that's what I chose. That's a little bit of what I found out. FD, do you want to go and talk about your side?
Yes, my research topic was about automation in the logistics and supply chain management. I think this is interesting because um, there has been a lot of automation already with the ERP systems and data collection from the companies already, but so far it hasn't been perfect. Or of course, it's not perfect, and AI is not going to change that. But it still has a lot of ways to improve, and the automation of such boring and tedious administration procedures and all of that, they seem very, very interesting to me. Just eradicating and eliminating all of that. So that's why I chose this topic. Evie?
Well, I chose the human resources department because when I was on my study trip in Denmark, we kind of talked about that part and
Oh,
also about
sorry, one sec. FD, could you mute when you're not talking? It's like reverb or something.
yeah, I hear it myself too.
Okay, we'll make sure to.
Thanks. Yeah, sorry,
Okay,
go ahead.
so I chose the human resources department because on my study trip in Denmark, we were kind of talking about it in like the diversity and inclusion part, and we also talked about how AI, like artificial intelligence, kind of can how do I say it, exclude all the biases people have during the human resources decision making. So when they hire people, by using artificial intelligence, they can like cut out all the biases they have. So they will like find an employee based on that person's skills and not by looking at the person or having any stereotypes. It like cuts off all the biases. So we kind of talked about it over there, and for me it was quite interesting. And also, since we had like the people management course, I knew all the steps we had to go through
Yeah.
in the procedures to find someone. So I was like, yeah, I know already a little bit. So maybe if I go do some research about it with the basic knowledge I have, it will already be like easier for me to find things about it. And it's also something quite interesting. It doesn't have math, so I'm happy about it.
Yeah. Do
So
you
yeah.
think like for HR, do you think that's a good idea to remove that like human component? Because like when I was in people management as well, it was really interesting that they talked about like how the computer systems and new software can just kind of like, you know, go through all applications and stuff and make the process a lot easier and faster for the managers. But it also like eliminating a human component is like good and bad.
It depends on where you want to use it, because I think AI can be like very useful when it comes to like doing repetitive things, like going through the CV, seeing if the people have the right skills for it. You don't want to go through all the CVs because for some jobs you get like more than 200 applications. So it's
Right.
quite time wasting. But when you have a software doing it for you, you can like save a lot of time, and time costs money in businesses, as they say. But yeah, then it can indeed like exclude the human part. And also depending on the job, sometimes you need like decent looking people. So you kind of need an idea, you need to see the person. I mean, for some jobs it's required. Like I work in the store, and if I'm not looking well, people of course won't come to me to ask questions. So I'm not selling anything, of course. So you're not going to hire someone that is coming to work with messy hair, unwashed, not clothed professional.
Right. So maybe like AI is better for like large businesses that need like warehouse employees or can just go through tons of applications a day.
Yeah, well, it could be used for like the repetitive tasks, in my opinion. But when it comes like to the human interaction part, you still kind of need to know the person to know who you're hiring, and if that person, besides maybe having the skills, is representing the company's values. Because I don't think AI can look at or analyze the values the company has, and if the person
Right.
understands them and can rely like
Yeah.
relate.
I just thought it was most interesting because AI is such a technological component and human resources. I mean, it's very human, right? It's a very
Yeah.
like it's a very not creative, but it's like a gut thing, right? You got to feel it sometimes, but yeah.
So yeah, there's still a lot of research to be done on it, and maybe experiments to see how things are going and whether we can use it in that specific step in the hiring process or not. And then, yeah, I think each company can decide what works for them and what not.
Yeah. It's interesting. Um, yeah, cool. So, for the logistics side, you said it just kind of eliminates the boring tasks, right? I mean, I feel like that's a very for all AI, it's kind of just like for business AI, it's all like the boring tasks eliminated.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And the more data the company has, the more informed decisions they can make. Uh, but if you have too much data, we know that that could be a problem. And too much data can mean that you don't know how to use them, or you cannot pick and choose the correct ones. So being able to go through all that, it can really cut down times for companies. They can there's so much that AI can do for logistics. Even small things. I mean, ETA predictions, like estimated time of arrivals.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that the AI can estimate practically when from the time of the truck's departure to its arrival at its destination, and that may be a few miles away or a few countries away, and it can estimate it with very precise predictions. And yeah, that can be not revolutionizing, but it's in little ways it's game changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's with logistics, AI can do marvels. I think there's just a
Yeah.
problem. Data at the moment. There is not enough data actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a big challenge for and I see that like in all our fields, data
Mhm.
is like the data's not there yet and the AI needs time and to learn and research and stuff. But yeah, I think logistics is probably the area where AI benefits really well. Because I
Yeah.
also
Sorry, I'm just gonna include this because basically with enough time and computing power, AI can supervised machine learning can. Wait, I have my notes here. Can understand how like seasons, events, the weather, and other small details that we can never put together. And those can all be put into a pool and basically forecast the demand of a product. Like there are all these details that can be put together, and technically, even a human could do that for a specific item over for a specific time. But it would be so much work. It would be basically impossible. But AI can do that. So it's super interesting.
Yeah. When I was doing the research over like sustainability and everything,
Yeah.
one of the biggest things AI helps is with like emissions and reducing emissions from a company by tracking its emissions and like seeing the areas they could reduce. And like one of the biggest areas was in shipping and in like in their logistics, in their supply chain. Like what can AI improve in the supply chain that'll reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, that'll reduce electricity usage in factories and manufacturing. And I don't know, I just thought it's really interesting how for me it was interesting that sustainability really connects to like all aspects of business and improves not just sustainability but also like business itself, because making a more efficient supply chain makes the business better, right? And
it
so
eliminates costs as well by doing so.
And what?
Usually minimizes, not eliminates, but minimizes costs, unnecessary costs.
Yeah, for sure. And so I don't know, I see that like, I don't know, AI and business is it's not very separate. It's all very linked together in terms of its challenges. From like looking at everyone's kind of challenges in their report, like getting data is like the hard part. It takes time and effort and money, but like and also the security, like it's software, so it's open to like hackers and stuff, which is also I don't know, I think that's kind of scary but interesting at the same time. I don't know, what do y'all think about the like challenges of AI?
It's scary sometimes.
The challenges or the problems, or like
Both.
Okay.
It's expensive and you have to be careful with it, because if you don't put good security on it and you have like sensitive data stored in that system and you get hacked, things can go lost or can be leaked online, and then you might put your company in trouble. I mean, hackers will always try to get into the systems they can get into. So
I think it's what? Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. It's okay.
I was just gonna say, I think it's just a huge commitment. I think a lot of companies don't want to make that commitment because it's like a huge cost to start a program, to find people to secure that program, to continue with the program, even though it's probably going to eat into your profits or your profits for a while for any company. And in the end, it'll probably be good, but like it's a hope, right? Probably it'll be really good at the end, and you're just like, well, I hope it's an investment that pays off. But I think as we move towards the future and I don't know, more people focusing on like the Internet of Things, like we talk about in class, I think it'll be more accessible and more. I think it'll be cheaper, maybe.
Yeah, usually over time, technologies get cheaper. Yeah.
The
thing I'm worried about AI is, of course, you have to gather data, and to gather the data is by an AI is basically you giving everything away, like your personal information, your habits, your things that you don't know about yourself. You're just volunteering that up to a computer. I think, sure, it could use it for good, but it could also not. So basically, what I'm thinking is that there are no rules implemented for AI. It's so new, it's so brand new that nobody has any regulations. They can do whatever they want. And sure, I'm not like smart enough to understand what they're doing, but I know that when people are given this much power, as AI has, and no rules, no restrictions, nothing like that, usually doesn't turn out to be the best,
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping we don't have one of those computer takes over the world.
One of those movies.
Would be unfortunate,
Yeah. So we discussed for quite a bit, but like I think one last question I think would be interesting. This is a management program. Obviously, we're all in. As managers, future managers, do you think you would try to push for this AI in your company in whatever way it can be found?
I guess we'll have to, because it will become something that all companies will have, and if you don't follow the trend, you might get into problems like the companies. You see, Tesla. making electric cars. Other car companies now have to follow Tesla.
Yeah.
You get that? So it
Yeah.
might be the same with AI in the future.
Yeah.
And who knows?
It's very likely that if you don't follow the trend, you will be left behind
Yeah.
and not be able to compete. So I
But-
think, yeah.
But would you be risky enough to start the trend?
Oh, that's different. Okay.
See, like if there's a new
Yeah.
AI program, that's, you know, we're introducing it still to the world. Are you gonna take the chance?
Depending on the knowledge I will have on AI myself, maybe. But for now, I don't know enough about it and how we can use it and like the software that is related to it to know if we can use it in the company I may work in the future.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where you will end up. So
I think it's good that we do this research now because it kind of gives us the knowledge to advise at least on it in the future.
To understand what it does.
Yeah, to understand the benefits and possibly the downfalls and just be like, I know enough to tell you to hire somebody to figure this out. Because this is a very like advanced field, and so I think it's kind of it's interesting.
But I do think we've had a good discussion. We've reached the time limits.
Oh, it's a minimum time limit, so.
That's very nice.
But yeah, I think it was a good discussion, and I look forward to our presentation. So
yeah.
Okay.
All right. See you guys.